All right, welcome back to Mr. P Helps with Precal. This is Unit 1, Topic 3, SLT, or Lesson 5, as we once again explore graphing rational functions and different types of rational functions. So this is very much a review of what we did on the last one. So anytime the degree is less on top than it is on bottom, then you know the horizontal is going to be y equals 0. So that goes straight across. And the vertical asymptote is what it takes to make the denominator 0. So I'm going to factor this, and that's going to end up being x plus 4 times x minus 3, which then gives me two vertical asymptotes. So that's going to give me one asymptote at -4 and one at +3. So one right here. No, I'm not being the most precise here. It's kind of hard to draw on here. So then the holes, well, nothing canceled out, so there is no holes. The y-intercepts, which means you put x0 in for x and solve. So 0 here, 0 minus 4 is -4. And 0 cancels, and -12 on bottom. So that becomes 1/3. So 0 1/3 is the y-intercept. 0 1/3 would be about, give or take, right there. All right. And x-intercepts in 0. So x-intercepts I can also find by solving. So finding the roots in this case. All right, so then x minus 4 equals 0. All right, you know what, just going to have to leave it at that. So add 4 to both sides, which means x equals 4. So we have one intercept at 4, 0, which would be, x-intercepts. So it can't be x-intercept. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is find some values of x. So usually you want to use one on each side of both asymptotes. So that would be -5 and -3 would give us two answers on this one. And it seems, oh, there we go, -5 and -3. And if I do one on each side over here, so that'd be 2 and, I'm going to do 2 and 5. Since this one doesn't really make sense because it's on a horizontal asymptote. So plug these numbers in and solve. So -5 minus 4 makes -9 divided by -5 minus plus 4, it makes -1. -1 times, let's see, that's going to be -8. -1 times -8 is 8. So that's -9/8. -5, -9/8 would be slightly more than 1, like there. -3, so -3 minus 4 makes -7, and -3 plus 4 is 1. 1 times -3 minus 3 is -6, is -6, -7, so that's +7/6. Slightly more than 1, which would be right there, give or take. If I do the same thing for 2 and 5, let's see what we get. 2 minus 4 is -2. 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 times 2 minus 3 is -1. -2 divided by -6 is +1/3. 2 +1/3 would be about right there. So what I notice about this piece is it's going to end up going like this. All right, and this piece is going to do like the mirror image of it, so which is going down, and then this one's going to be doing this. So let's see what happens here. 5 minus 4 is 1. 5 plus 4 is 9 times 5 minus 3 is 2. So that's 1/18. 5 1/18 would be slightly above. I must have done something wrong. So 5 minus 4 is 1. 5 plus 4 is 9. 5 minus 3 is 2. 1/18. So that doesn't seem to make sense. It should have been like that. But neither does that asymptote. Okay, I'm going to move on from it. Moving on to the next question. So now we have a numerator higher degree than the denominator. So I'm going to factor out that x plus 3. And over x plus 4. So first, horizontal asymptote. So we know that this is not going to be the case because we have a bigger degree on top than on bottom. So I would divide x squared plus 3x divided by x plus 4. So x times x is x squared times is 4x. Subtract. 3 minus 4 makes -1x. So what do I have to multiply this by to make it this? Bring down 0, so that's -1. So that's negative x minus 4 leaves me with, whoops, now I subtract. 0 minus negative 4 is 4 left over. So x minus 1 is our slant asymptote. So that's going to be about right there. All right, vertical asymptotes. So what would it take to make the denominator x? Make it 0, so that would be x equals negative 4. So I know that's going to be right there. Okay, so there are no holes because there is no crossing out on top and bottom. There's no common numerator and denominator. So y-intercept, which means when x is 0, so that becomes all 0. So that becomes 0 over 4. Anything over 4 is itself. So 0, 0 is the y-intercept right there. X-intercepts, which means the numerator would be 0. So x equals 0 is one of them. And x plus 3 equals 0. So that'd be x equals negative 3. So negative 3, 0 is one of the x-intercepts. And 0, 0, of course, is one of the x-intercepts because we already knew that because it's right there. Okay, graphing points. So I'm going to use negative 5 as one of the points. Negative, I'm going to do one over here as well. So 2 would be a help. And negative 2 might be a help. And what else am I missing? So 1 might give us some help too. So negative 5, put in negative 5 in here. So that would be negative 5 times negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. Negative 5 plus 4 makes negative 1. So that gives me 10. 10 divided by negative 1 is negative 10. Negative 5, negative 10. Negative 5, negative 10 is right there. 2. So about 2 in for x. So that would be 2 times 2 plus 3 is 5. 2 plus 4 makes 6. 10 divided by 6 is 1 and 4/6 left over. So 1 2/3, 1.6 give or take. 2, 1.6 will be about right there. Negative 2, so if I put negative 2 in solve, so that'd be negative 2 times negative 2 plus 3 makes 1. Negative 2 plus 4 makes 2. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. Negative 2, negative 1. All right, so that's right there. So it looks like it's shaping up here on top. It's going to go like this. Okay, and then this side, you know what, 1 might actually not be the best case scenario, so maybe negative 6 would give us a little bit more what's happening over here. Negative 6 times negative 6 plus 3 makes negative 3, divided by negative 6 plus 4 makes negative 2. So 18 divided by negative 2 is negative 9. Negative 6, negative 9 would be about right there. Okay. So I'm going to assume that's like that will be the other side. Okay, pausing there. All right, so we're going to take it to the next question. Describe the indicated properties of the rational function g. You may also use the grid to help you. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is simplify this. So this is x plus 4 times x plus 4. Or it's actually an x plus 4 square in this case, because 4 plus 4 is 8, and 4 times 4 is 16. Then for the denominator, so we have x plus 3 times x plus 4. Now, first thing you're going to notice is that the plus 4 is canceled, which that's going to create a hole, which x plus 4 cannot equal to 0, which means x cannot be negative 4. So that's where one of the holes is. So I find out where that hole is by plugging negative 4 in for x and solving. So that's going to end up giving me negative 4 plus 4 makes 0, and negative 4 plus 3 makes negative 1, which is 0. So that's negative 4, 0 is where the hole is going to be. So horizontal asymptotes. So vertical asymptote is going to be pretty easy. So vertical asymptote is right here. So x plus 3 cannot be equal to 0, which means x equals negative 3. So vertical asymptote right there. Now horizontal asymptote, remember we're dealing with things that are the same. So all you have to do is divide the coefficients of the biggest degree, which is 1. So we know y equals 1 is going to be the horizontal asymptote. Vertical asymptote, oh, I already said, so x equals negative 3. So this is y equals 1. So next thing I'm going to do is, so I can then graph it. So I'm going to plug in some values just to see where things are at. Both sides. So let's see, if I use negative 2 and -4 as my x's and y's. Put -2 in. -2 plus 4 makes 2. -2 plus 3 makes 1, so that becomes 2. -2, 2 would be right there. -4 makes 0, and -4 makes -1, so that's 0. So -4, 0 is another point. I could keep going. Put -1 in. -1 plus 4 makes 3. -1 plus 4 makes 3. -1 plus 3 makes 2, so that's 1.5. All right, so -1, 1.5 would be about right there. So it looks like we have our rational function looking like this. Okay, so limit as f of x, as x approaches -infinity, that means further you go to the left, the closer it's getting to a height of 1. The further you get to the right, it also is getting closer and closer to 1. So both sides are going to be exactly the same, and the closer you get to infinity coming from the right, it's going up towards positive infinity. The limit as you're coming in from the left is going to be going towards negative infinity. All right, it seems I've lost my spot. So then the last one we're going to do, because I'm running with only about 4 minutes left to go. So this one, so we have, okay, yep, that's where we left off. Accurately graph the rational function h on the grid and graph the asymptotes of dashed lines. Okay, so once again, we have a numerator with a bigger degree than a denominator. So I can first factor out, all right, I don't need to waste time. There we go. So factor out the x. That leaves me with 2x plus 1 on top and x plus 1 on bottom. Now, these aren't exactly the same, so you can't actually factor them out. So vertical asymptote at -1, because that's what it would take to make the denominator 0. So we know that that can't be an answer. And then we can also find the slant asymptote by dividing. So x plus 1, this goes in, so 2 times x is 2x squared, and 2x times 1 is 2x. Subtract 1x minus 2x makes -1x. It can add nothing coming down. X times -1 would be this. So that's -x minus 1. And that leaves us with 1 left over. So 2x minus 1 is the slant asymptote. So starting at -1 up to right 1. Now I'm actually going to have to make points because it's going to go something like that. Okay, so we got the vertical and the slant asymptotes. The next thing you would just need to know is where is the graph being graphed. So start with 0 is going to be helpful. Definitely 1 and -3. So I'm plotting one point that's in between here, one that's over here, and then one that's over here. So -2. So if I put 0 in for x, so that's going to be 0 times anything is 0. So you know the top is 0. And 0 plus 1 is 1. So you know the answer is 0, 0. So 0, 0 is definitely a point. If you put 1 in for x, so that's going to be 1 times 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. Over 1 plus 1 makes 2. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. So 1, 1.5. All right, so it looks like our graph's going to look like this, which also tells us most likely that it's going to end up like this, but I'm going to test it just to make sure, and I know I only have like a minute left. So I'm going to put -2 in for x and solve, so that's -2 times 2 times -2 is -4, plus 1 makes -3. Over -2 plus 1 makes -1. So that makes 6. 6 divided by -1 is -6. -2, -6 is right there. Yep, it's going to do exactly what we were predicting, which is that. All right, now I'm going to stop right there. Thanks again for watching, and please look forward to future videos. Have a great day.